You know that feeling when a dog barks, or maybe a pig grunts, or even just a human sigh, and you instinctively, you just know what it is, what it means. Or think about a baby, how they slowly start to babble, and those first sounds are kind of shaped by the world around them, by gentle responses. There's a real mystery there, right? A deep connection in our biology.
Absolutely.
Today, we're going to really plunge into that mystery. This deep dive, it's all about the hidden stuff, the neural mechanisms behind how we mammals, including us humans, perceive and actually learn vocal sounds.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack two new, really fascinating studies. They reveal just how ancient, how fundamental these abilities are across some pretty different species. Our mission today, it's about discovering what connects us across that big mammalian family tree, but also maybe what unique developmental paths set us apart in how we communicate.
That's right. And we're setting the stage with some really groundbreaking research. One's from Lorraine University, the other from Princeton. These studies, they kind of take us on a journey, combining insights from, neurophysiology and developmental biology, illuminating how our brains are just fundamentally wired for sound.
Wired for sound, I like that.
We'll go from that immediate recognition, like, oh, I know that voice, to the really intricate process of learning to make our own sounds. It's about peeling back layers, tracing those deep evolutionary threads that connect us all from, say, a tiny marmoset to a human baby.
Okay, let's dive right into that first incredible study. This one's out of the Neuroethology of Communication lab. And the team there, they asked this really basic question. The sheer importance of vocalizations, for survival, for social stuff. Does that show up in similar brain processes across really different mammals? It's kind of a puzzle.
It really is. And for years, scientists have sort of grappled with this. How does the brain tell apart any vocal sound, like a cough, versus leaves rustling, from the really specific trick of picking out a voice from your own species?
Right. Are they totally separate things?
Yeah.
Or related?
Exactly. Are they distinct mechanisms or just, points on a spectrum? This study was brilliant because it directly compared them, this general vocalization sensitivity and conspecific vocalization sensitivity. For the first time, really, gave us an unprecedented look.
And the participants they chose, wow, 20 humans, 38 companion dogs, and 11 miniature pigs.
Yeah.
What's really clever, I thought, was the method. So non-invasive, so natural. They used EEG electrodes just placed gently on the head, which meant the animals, the dogs, the pigs, they could just relax, be at ease with their human companions. No training needed, no sedation, just, hanging out. Really emphasizes the animal welfare side, too.
Absolutely. That's crucial. And the sounds themselves.
Yeah.
Equally well chosen, relevant to their everyday lives.
Like what?
So, human nonverbal stuff, coughs, laughs, sighs. Then dog sounds, barks, growls, pig sounds, grunts, squeaks.
Okay.
And then, importantly, as a baseline, non-vocal environmental sounds, traffic, household objects, that kind of thing.
Right.
And crucially, these were sounds familiar to all the species in their shared home environment, so you can compare directly without worrying if something's just novel.
Got it. And the results, you mentioned a two-step pattern.
Yes, exactly. A remarkable two-step pattern in how the brains responded. The first step, they termed it general vocalization sensitivity.
Which is basically
the brain's knack for telling any vocal sound apart from just background noise, like that traffic sound.
Okay. And what did they find there?
This is where it gets really interesting. Humans and pigs. They both showed this sensitivity almost immediately. We're talking within like a couple hundred milliseconds of hearing the sound.
Wow, fast.
Super fast. It indicates that vocal sounds just inherently pop out for their brains, grab attention quickly. But here's the surprise. The dogs showed no evidence of this general sensitivity.
No evidence.
At all. Not in this initial stage, no. Their brains didn't seem to immediately flag any vocal sound as different from a non-vocal one right at the start.
Huh. But that seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? Dogs are so tuned into us, into our sounds. Why wouldn't they show that general sensitivity like pigs and humans?
It's a great question, right? And the leading hypothesis links it back to their evolutionary roles.
Okay.
Think about it. Dogs, ancestors, wolves, mostly apex predators. Predators often need to be highly tuned to specific critical cues, a rustle meaning prey, a specific warning call. Maybe a broad vocal versus non-vocal filter is less vital than focusing on precise, context-heavy sounds.
Ah, I see. Whereas humans and pigs,
Well, their ancestors might have been more likely to be prey. For them, maybe rapidly detecting any vocal sound, could be predator, could be friend, offered a critical survival edge. Just noticing something vocal was important.
So it's about what the brain is evolutionarily sort of primed to listen for first.
That's the idea.
Okay. But you said 2 steps, so there's a second, maybe more specialized sensitivity?
Exactly. And this is conspecific vocalization sensitivity.
Conspecific meaning, own species.
Own species, yes. The ability to distinguish sounds from your own kind from all the other sounds. And what's truly remarkable here is that all 3 species, humans, dogs, and pigs, showed this.
Ah, so the dogs show up here.
They do. This more specialized sensitivity, it appeared a bit later in the brain's processing, generally after about 300 milliseconds or so, which implies, a more complex, maybe categorical recognition, not just that initial, is it vocal detection.
Okay.
And the researchers were careful. They ruled out simple familiarity because the animals knew the other sounds too. This seems to be a specialized, deep-seated recognition.
Interesting.
And one more interesting detail. This conspecific sensitivity actually popped up a little earlier in dogs and pigs than in humans.
Earlier. Why might that be?
Well, it possibly reflects the greater relative importance of hearing, the auditory modality, for dogs and pigs in their natural communication compared to us humans who rely heavily on vision too.
Fascinating. So, okay, if we step back from the details,
Yeah.
what's the big takeaway? Connecting these brain responses across humans, dogs, pigs, what does it tell us?
Zooming out, the implication is, well, it's huge, evolutionarily speaking. These patterns, both the general and the species-specific sensitivity, were strikingly similar despite the massive evolutionary distance.
How long are we talking?
They diverged something like 90 million years ago.
Whoa.
So finding these similarities points directly to shared neural mechanisms that must predate that divergence. It really underscores that these abilities aren't just, recent tweaks or effects of domestication. They're part of a fundamental ancient mammalian heritage. Deep roots.
Ancient mammalian heritage. Okay, so that's about recognizing sounds.
Yeah.
Let's pivot now to the equally complex journey of learning to produce sounds.
Right.
You immediately think of a human baby, right? That delightful babbling and how parents instinctively react, engage with those first coos and sounds. Turns out that whole back and forth, that social dance, it actually makes us a bit of an oddity in the animal kingdom.
Indeed, humans are kind of an outlier here. We rely so heavily on social feedback from caregivers to shape our sounds, to learn how to talk, basically.
Yeah.
And this whole developmental path. It's radically different from what you usually see even in our closest relatives, like chimpanzees or macaque monkeys.
How so?
For them, social feedback just doesn't seem to play much of a role, if any, in their vocal development. They kind of just learn to make their species sounds. It seems more innate.
Okay, but here is where the plot thickens, right?
Yeah.
Where it gets really intriguing. There's a scientific twist involving a monkey.
Yes. A squirrel-sized monkey, the marmoset. This is what's truly fascinating.
And they aren't even that close to us evolutionarily.
Not particularly close, no. Our common ancestors, maybe 40 million years back, but they also show this socially guided vocal learning.
Wow. How did they figure that out?
Well, earlier work, fantastic stuff by researchers like Asif Ghazanfar and Daniel Takahashi at Princeton, showed that baby marmosets go through a distinct babbling phase, very much like human infants.
Babbling monkeys.
Totally. And the key finding from their studies around 2015-2017 was that baby marmosets who got more adult feedback when they were babbling, well, they caught on faster.
Faster how?
They learned to produce the proper adult-like calls significantly quicker than the ones who didn't get as much feedback. That was a pretty big aha moment for everyone. Seeing this learning strategy wasn't just a human thing among primates.
Okay, so that raises the puzzle then. Why humans and marmosets, so distantly related, yet sharing this unique social feedback learning thing, while our closer relatives like chimps don't seem to? What's the missing link?
Exactly. It's a really important question. And a new hypothesis from this Biazzi et al. Paper suggests the answer might lie, partly anyway, in when newborn babies' brains grow the fastest.
The timing of brain growth.
Yeah. This study found that both human and marmoset brains are growing faster right around birth compared to chimps and rhesus macaques. They're more what we call altricial relative to those other primates.
Altricial
meaning relatively underdeveloped at birth, needing more care. And critically, most of that rapid brain growth isn't happening tucked away in the womb like it does more for chimps and macaques.
Okay. So when does it happen?
It happens right around the time they're born and first experiencing the outside world. This period of super fast brain expansion perfectly overlaps with key vocal learning milestones,
Wow.
and it happens during an incredibly social time, especially in what's called a cooperative breeding environment. Think human moms getting help from family or community, or marmoset parents sharing infant care.
Right, okay. So it's this specific combination then. A rapidly growing, kind of malleable brain hitting the world at the same time as it's immersed in a vocally rich, supportive social environment. It's not just the brain, but the world it lands in.
Precisely. That seems to be the key insight. A mathematical model they developed actually backed this up.
How so?
It showed that if vocal learning is influenced by both the timing of brain growth and the availability of social cues, then it really benefits from having that ultrashell brain development and being in a cooperative breeding setting.
So the social environment isn't just background noise, it's actively shaping the learning.
Tremendously, especially for vocal learning during that critical infancy period when the brain is uniquely malleable, uniquely receptive. It's almost like the brain needs that social download to fully unlock its vocal potential.
Wow. Okay, so let's try and connect the dots here. We've explored how our brains seem wired from deep time to recognize sounds, finding shared patterns across species we might not expect.
Right.
And then we've seen how the actual development of our brains, specifically that growth spurt right after birth, interacts with our social world to let us learn to make sounds.
It feels like two incredibly intricate sides of the same communication coin, both rooted in biology, but unfolding in different, fascinating ways. Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about the broader implications, what these findings really highlight are these fundamental biological mechanisms, things that have shaped communication for literally millions of years.
From recognition to learning.
Right, from that shared ancient ability to pick out voices across different mammals, all the way to the unique developmental path that lets humans and marmosets learn complex vocalizations through intense social interaction. We're really seeing this intricate dance of evolution, neurobiology, and behavior play out.
And, why should you listening at home care about the EEG of a pig or the brain growth spurt in a marmoset?
No.
Because these studies, they offer us just incredible insight into the origins of our own human communication, don't they? The foundations of language itself. And even how our pets, our companion animals, perceive the world around them.
Exactly.
It helps us understand the roots of your ability right now to listen to us, to speak, to connect in this wonderfully noisy, complicated world.
And it strongly reinforces the huge value of these comparative studies. By carefully, ethically studying species like companion dogs and miniature pigs, animals that live closely with us are comfortable participating, we can genuinely understand the human brain better.
Right.
These animal models, they can unlock secrets about neurocognition that might otherwise stay hidden, gives us a much more complete picture of ourselves.
So this deep dive, it's really shown us, whether it's that immediate, almost subconscious spark when you recognize a voice, or that slow, careful shaping of a baby's first sounds through feedback. The story of sound and the brain is truly ancient.
Yeah.
And it's still unfolding.
Absolutely. And maybe consider this. If that ability to pick out your own species' voice is such an ancient inheritance, like etched into our biology for millions of years, and yet the very way we learn to speak is so profoundly shaped by how our brains grow after we're born, interacting with our environment, what other layers might we still uncover? What silent, complex conversations are our brains having right now, every single day, just to make sense of the symphony of sounds all around us?
Definitely something profound to ponder until our next deep dive.